This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
All right, I'm just going to assume in the Resolute desk in the Oval Office right now is a one sheet of paper with a lot of names on it. That would be the Trump hit list. That would be the Trump enemies list. I know I would have a list like that, especially after what he went through the previous 4 years, where they tried to put him in jail and bankrupt him and destroy his family and kill him. And on that list, I'm sure he checks it every couple of days, are many, many prominent names in the media, in the Democrat Party, in Hollywood, in circles of power and fame and influence, people that wanted to destroy him, and there were a lot of them. And one by one, Donald Trump is crossing names off the list. This is an amazing thing going on here. It doesn't get nearly enough coverage, but the Trump haters, the people who devoted their life to stopping Trump, to destroying Trump, to lying about him, to creating hoaxes about Trump, one by one, they are falling like dominoes. We've gone through the list a few times. I just jotted the names down so far who've been crossed off the list. Stephen Colbert, that was a big one last week. Joy Reid, Lester Holt, Terry Moran, Jim Acosta, Chuck Todd, Don Lemon. Oh, let's not forget the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and Media Matters. And now we have the number one name on the list, the most virulent Trump hater, a guy that used to be Donald Trump's good friend, that said Donald Trump was the best guest he ever had on his show. They were tight. They were buds. They went to each other's weddings. But then Howard Stern sold out. Howard Stern flipped. He used to be a libertarian. He used to mock Democrats. He used to be a real contrarian. And then he became just another stooge for the Democrat Party. He became like a sixth member of The View. He and his dear friend, Jimmy Kimmel, just became obsessed with hating the man that they were friendly with for decades. Well, it looks now like Howie Hampton is out. Yes, Sirius XM has decided he's not worth the money, and his contract is up this fall, and apparently he's done. He's out at Sirius, which is amazing. Trump will probably gloat at some point the way he has with all these other people who have fallen by the wayside. But this is a big one, a really big one. This is a guy who literally said he doesn't want Trump supporters to listen to him, which to me was incredible. When you're on the radio, whether it's satellite or terrestrial radio or podcasting, the idea that you would tell half your audience. I mean, Trump supporters like me used to be huge Stern fans. He was incredible. He was a superstar. He was the best. He was hilarious. I mean, he was must listen. And then he, I think, made a decision, just like Jimmy Kimmel. Those two guys, they're best friends. And they made the same decision when people started getting canceled, when people started losing their jobs or getting publicly mocked and ridiculed for past tweets and past statements, because the culture changed and cancel culture kind of prevailed, and they found things that people said and said they got to go. Well, Stern has more stuff in his past, more offensive things, more racial comments. He used to say the N-word on his show. He used to say the F word for gay people regularly on his show. I heard it. I listened to it. I couldn't believe it. But that's what made him stand out in the crowd. That's what made him such a superstar. He was fearless. He went to the line and then he crossed the line. And he knew that if he kept it up, that if he didn't befriend the left, the people who were leading the cancel culture movement. If he didn't, they would bring this up. If you're watching along with us, there is Howard Stern in blackface in a skit with Sherman Helmsley pretending to be Whoopi Goldberg and Ted Danson. It's incredible what he did and survived. And the reason he survived is because he sucked up to the people who would normally come after him and want him canceled and want him shamed publicly. Suddenly, he was a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. Suddenly, he was kissing the ass of Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris and Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. Suddenly, he was telling you how great it is when Ellen DeGeneres dances on her show. I remember talking to Artie Lang, his sidekick, who he got rid of because Artie was too good, too funny. And Artie Lang said he couldn't believe when Howard was praising what's the chubby guy who does the karaoke in the car? What's his name?
James Corden.
Yeah, James Corden. And he was sucking up to him, and he said, Artie said, if that were the old Stern, they would have destroyed James Corden, just like they would destroy the people on The View, like Whoopi Goldberg. Suddenly he sounded like The View. Suddenly he was one of them. These people obsessed with stopping Trump, with mocking Trump, with mocking Trump supporters. He flipped into a whole different person, and he did it so he would survive, so he wouldn't get canceled. Well, he went too far. What he did last year, a couple of years ago, was say, screw, here he is on the couch with Hillary Clinton. Kids, if you weren't around, 15, 20 years ago, that's not the guy we listened to. That guy, Hillary Clinton wouldn't spit on him. She hated him. He hated her. He made this transformation, this transition into a whole other person, which was the fatal mistake, because the thing that made him so popular, the thing that made him beloved, is he was genuine. He was one of us. He was a guy who just mocked and made fun of everybody. And he flipped and became Joey Behar. He became the thing he hated the most. Someone who sucks up to power, who kisses the ass of the people in the establishment. That was the new Howard Stern, and it lasted. He pulled it off for a few years. He made a few $100 million, but his real diehard fans just could never forgive him because he sold his soul. He was the biggest sellout in history. No one has sold out like this man. No one, not Jimmy Kimmel, not anybody. And it was sad. It was sad to see. And this was the inevitable conclusion. He told half his audience to go to hell. He told anyone who supports Trump, likes Trump, voted for Trump, to go away. And you know what happened? They went away. They abandoned him. He lost, I don't have the exact number. He's down to 160,000 subscribers. According to the story, he had over 1 million. So he lost more than half his audience. Hell, the people who still listen to him, people like Democrats who don't like Trump, they were abandoning him because they know he's a phony. They know it wasn't real. They know that's not the real Howard Stern. That wasn't the guy. That wasn't the legend. So people just abandoned him. They said, I'm no longer going to pay for this. And this is incredible because losing whatever it is, 70, 80, 90% of your audience, that's bad. But you know what? Makes it even worse? I can attest to this. I called Sirius, said I was going to cancel. That's what you do if you want to get a better deal. I was paying like $30 a month. They immediately said, we'll knock you down to $7 a month. I said, all right, I'll stay on at $7 a month. And they said, you don't get Howard Stern anymore. And I said, that's okay. I don't listen much anymore anyway. And then I went back in my car, and like a month later, Howie was back. So for $7 a month, they didn't even cancel Stern. They kept him on my Sirius radio. So these numbers, they don't even reflect how far he has fallen. But here's just a reminder of what he became. The man became much like his hero Hillary or his good friend Joe Biden or the ladies of The View or Kimmel or Colbert, just obsessed with hating Trump, just obsessed with insulting, dumping on Trump supporters. He went through COVID and he became the face of COVID insanity. Didn't leave his house for 3 years. I listened one day and he was mocking, ridiculing one of his staffers. I forget which one. Guy's got about 100 people working for him because they went to Starbucks, they said, the day before. And he went off on the guy. Said, "Are you insane? Do you want to die?" And I'm listening. I'm going, what? Guy went out for coffee because he left his house and went for coffee. Howard just eviscerated him. That's how obsessed he was, how fearful, how scared he was of COVID. And he never missed the chance to mock and ridicule anybody who might have been skeptical about the vaccine or might have wanted to just go live their lives and not shut down their business. He sat at home in one of his mansions in Palm Beach or in Long Island or on the Hamptons and mocked people who went to work. That's what he became. This shut-in, this COVID hypochondriac who mocked people who wanted to live their lives. That was the guy who used to be the king of all media. He used to be the ultimate contrarian that challenged the power, who challenged the establishment. But let's get to Stern talking about people who maybe didn't see the world the way he did, who maybe liked the idea of President Donald Trump, who supported Trump. We're not even talking about fanatics like MAGA diehards. We're just talking about people who didn't support Joe Biden or didn't support Hillary Clinton. He hated them and told them to go away. Listen to this.
The oddity in all of this is the people Trump despises most love him the most. Go look at Mar-a-Lago, see if there's any people that look like you. I'm talking to you in the audience. The Trump voter who, idolizes the guy. He despises you. I don't hate Donald. Donald's doing his thing. I hate you for voting for him, for not having an intelligence, for not able to see what's going on with the coronavirus, not able to see what the Justice Department is doing. I hate you. I don't want you here.
I don't want you here. A guy whose livelihood depended on a big audience. I mean, that's just, that is the peak insanity right there. If you're one of the 77 million who voted for him, if you're one of half the country who supports him, I don't want you to listen. I don't want you to pay for a subscription to listen to me. These people are just, they've lost their minds. I mean, even if you hate Trump, you want to keep your job, don't you? You want to keep your audience. Well, Howie Hamptons didn't, and now he is out. Got any more from Howie as he plays out the string? The story is, I'll get you the details, that he's going to be on till the fall, and then he's out when his contract's up, which this is from the U.S. Sun. They broke the story. He'll be canceled after 20 years. He was making $100 million a year. And I know he's got plenty of money. He's set for life, but he's done. He's going to lose a job that pays $100 million a year because he just couldn't stop hating Trump and Trump supporters, which is 80 million people in this country. They write, the iconic Howard Stern show on Sirius XM is set to be canceled after a stunning 20-year run. Sources tell the U.S. Sun. Stern, 71, has had a megabucks contract for decades at the subscription satellite radio provider. He will cut some sort of deal to keep his catalog on his exit. The source says Stern's contract is up, and while Sirius is planning to make him an offer, they don't intend for him to take it. Apparently, they're going to offer him like $20 million a year, and he's going to turn it down. He'll be insulted. Stern and Sirius are never going to meet on the money he's going to want. It's no longer worth the investment. The insider said that fans expect Sears to strike a deal for his library, whatever that means. He gets to keep his library. After what you saw happen to Stephen Colbert, it's like they just can't afford to keep him going. Another source said Stern's political leanings are not working in his favor. If Sirius isn't going to give Stern a good offer, I don't think it would have anything to do with his ratings. It's more likely everything to do with the political climate. I think it's both. When you think that he's lost, 900,000 subscribers since turning on his old friend Donald Trump. But that's the latest name on the Trump hit list. Who will be next is the question. I know a lot of people are predicting Jimmy Kimmel. That would be cool. And others think The View. That meme where the Grim Reaper goes door to door and kills people. The meme floating out there today is Stern was last. The View is next. I have my doubts. It seems like The View is serving their audience, and it's probably a pretty big audience of unemployed, middle-aged, miserable old cat ladies who sit home and watch The View and think, Whoopi is brilliant. I think they may survive. But Jimmy Kimmel, I'm going to guess, is probably losing as much money as Colbert was, so he has to be somewhere on that list. And we're only 6 months in. All those names I read, only 6 months in, Trump is winning and winning big. Speaking of winning, we got to get to this redistricting, this gerrymandering story. It is just gone from ridiculous to sublime. It's just hilarious watching Democrats react. Democrats are now promising to do what they've already done in response to Texas's plan to redraw the map. They're promising to redraw their maps. The only problem is they've already done it. They've already sliced and diced their states to get Democrats elected. I'm not sure what they could do next. And we got to get to this, Drew, this too. Big Balls. Remember Big Balls from Doge? Well, he lived up to his nickname on the streets of D.C. the other night. Took a beating, but the man is a hero. We'll get into that and much more. But first,
Excuse me.
if you've ever searched for your name or address on Google, it's shocking to find how many results have your personal information, and it's not by chance. Data brokers and people search sites, collect your personal information, your name, address, phone number, financial info, income, and hundreds of other records. They sell it and share it publicly without your consent. But Incogni is here to put an end to that. It hunts down these unethical sites and gets your info removed from the places that expose your private information. You don't have to email anyone, fill out forms, or jump through hoops. They handle the entire process for you. Incogni is also continually monitoring if your data is put back into these databases, requesting repeated removals. This way, it keeps them off there forever. So you get fewer spam calls, spam emails, and you get more peace of mind. And best of all, you can cancel anytime, and they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can get it completely risk-free. Right now, you get 60% off an annual plan by going to incogni.com and use code word Callahan. That's incogni, incogni.com/Callahan, and use the code word Callahan at checkout. You get 60% off and protect your data for an entire year. If you're not paying close attention, most people don't even care about gerrymandering. It's been going on for centuries. It was named after Massachusetts Governor Elbridge Gerry like 200 years ago, where you redraw the district to get your side elected, and they're doing it in Texas. They're going to hopefully add 5 Republican seats. Hopefully, well, actually, I'm not sure I want Jasmine Crockett to be gerrymandered out of office. She's too much fun, and she's such a big help to the Republicans. But she may be. We will see. Plus that crazy Al Green with the hairy cheeks and the cane. He's in jeopardy. But we will see what happens. They have fled the state. The governor, Greg Abbott, has now asked Kash Patel at the FBI to help him locate them. I don't think that's very tough. I think most of them are in J.B. Pritzker's hotel in Chicago. They flew him out on a private jet. I assume J.B. back ribs Pritzker paid for that too. and they made their stand in the most gerrymandered state in the country, in Illinois. But it is hilarious listening to the reaction of Democrats who have done this over and over again. There's literally not a Democrat state that hasn't been gerrymandered. We heard reaction from many people, including Gavin Newsom, who posted, I mean, one of the dumbest things. He pointed out the states that don't have Democrat representatives in their congressional delegation. And he pointed out, and he called out a number of states, number of red states, smaller red states that here it is, red states with 0 Dem House seats: Oklahoma, Arkansas, Iowa, Utah, Nebraska, Idaho, Montana, West Virginia, Alaska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming. Do you know that I think 4 or 5 of those they only have one congressman. They have one congressman. I don't think you can gerrymander a state with one congressional district. That's how stupid this man is. That's from Gavin Newsom. Yes, it's North Dakota, South Dakota, Alaska, Wyoming have one congressman. They can't be gerrymandered. And the governor of California is threatening to gerrymander California, which they have already done. Let me get to Ayanna Pressley's tweet before we get to Maura Healey. My congresswoman, Ayanna Pressley, represents the 7th congressional district, writes in her tweet, "What Republicans are doing in Texas is a cowardly, undemocratic power grab meant to silence voters. They know their policies are deeply unpopular, so they want to rig the next election. Solidarity with Texas Democrats using every tool to fight back." All right, now get me her congressional district, which is in my tweet, which went kind of viral. People were having a good laugh at Ayanna. There is her congressional district. This is a woman who said, what was her words? Anti-democratic power grab, cowardly. That's the district she represents. Look at that thing. It looks like one of Hunter Biden's finger paintings, one of Hunter's doodles. That was gerrymandered to get her elected. And now she says gerrymandering in a red state is cowardly and anti-democratic. Well, as you know, there are 9 congressional districts in Massachusetts and 0 Republicans. One district goes from the Vermont border to the Rhode Island border, just slithers through the state. Again, designed to assure that Massachusetts has 0 Republicans. Massachusetts has, the state of Massachusetts, Trump got 36% of the vote. There are 0 Republicans. Illinois, Trump got 45% of the vote. There are 3 Republicans and 14 Democrats. That's the state where they're standing before the cameras screaming about this anti-democratic, racist, authoritarian plan Texas has. But let's get to Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey. This, again, made me laugh out loud. This state has been gerrymandered to the extreme, to the point where there are no Republican congressmen, no Republican senators, and a handful of feckless Republican state reps and state senators who do nothing. So it's completely dominated by one party. That would be good if red states could do the same thing. They don't, they can't, they won't, but they are railing against what Abbott's doing, say they have to fight back. How exactly do you plan to do that, lady? You've already done it. You've already, they say they're going to fight fire with fire. That's what Texas is doing. They fired first. They are the ones who've made this an art form. But here's the governor and some very strange people around her railing against Texas's plan. Go ahead.
Many Democratic majority states are now threatening to rewrite their own maps if Texas follows through with its plan.
Donald Trump, Greg Abbott, Ken Paxton have left us no choice. That's the reality. Nobody came looking for this.
So she has no choice but to redraw the districts and do what? Get Democrats elected? What are you going to do? They're all coming up with this. All right. I posted that video and got a big reaction. And I got to say, much of it was about the individual standing behind our governor, towering over our governor. We have to find out who this is. This is a state official, no surprise, in Massachusetts. And it was really distracting. Everybody was saying, what? Who is that? That this is a man, I guess, pretending to be a woman with some real female assets. What do you think, Ironhead? What's your guess?
Probably like a C cup.
Oh, my God, that is a state official. Massachusetts is run by just the biggest bunch of nuts and freaks. That we got to find out. Well, maybe I'll find, maybe someone on the comment line will know. I know Twitter went nuts trying to figure out who this is. This angry guy, tall, short hair, obviously a man's from the neck up, and a woman from like Ed Helms in Hangover 2 or 3 or one of the hangovers when he wakes up and he's got female parts. I don't know. We'll try not to get distracted by that guy who was standing next to the governor who's promising to rewrite the state. Before we move on, let's get to this Texas state rep. Her name is Jolanda Jones. I assume she's in fear of her job because Abbott might fire them all, or maybe she'll get redistricted out of a job. But she went on with Don Lemon, another name on Trump's hit list, who apparently does a podcast, and talked to a Texas state rep, and she does it. She goes there. She compares redrawing the districts in her state to the Holocaust. It's a good thing Democrats aren't going too far on this issue, huh? Just listen.
And then integration happened and everybody thought they accept us. They don't accept us. They are showing us who they are. We should believe them. And we better have the courage to stand up. Otherwise, we will fall for anything. And in this country, we will be defeated, deported. I mean, we will lose all of our rights. And if you think it can't happen, it can. And I will liken this to the Holocaust. People are like, well, how did the Holocaust happen? How was somebody in a position to kill all them people? Well, good people remain silent. Or good people didn't realize that what happens to them can very soon happen to me or somebody I love. And so even if you made it, man, you have an obligation to help people who can't, because God forbid they end up targeting you and your family.
Mm-hmm. So if you redistrict or gerrymander and there are fewer black reps, that's the Holocaust. If you redistrict so there are more black representatives or senators or elected officials, that's democracy. Okay, I think I got it right. Just like the Holocaust, those reps, they make $600 a month. I think they convene like once every 2 years. They have real jobs, or some of them do, which they're risking going on this, pulling this stunt, going to Chicago and elsewhere. But that woman is a part-time legislator, and she's thinking that she might lose that gig, and it's just like being put in a gas chamber. People are insane. They really are. We got to get to Big Balls. This is my favorite story of the day. If you don't remember who Big Balls is, his name is Ed Korenstein. He's 19 years old, I believe. It's been reported 20 somewhere, some places 19. But he is, according to his boss at Doge, a genius, an engineer. He was featured in that Doge segment that I think Jesse Waters did with Elon Musk and the Doge team. And he literally looks like he's a kid, but he's brilliant. And he works, 16, 18 hours a day trying to save this country from the debt spiral it's on, trying to find abuse, fraud, waste, crimes in D.C. By the way, don't be surprised when you find out the reason that so many of these people like Colbert and even Howard Stern and Joy Reid and Chuck Todd, and don't be surprised if there's a Doge angle in this, because as we've said many times, the $40 billion that went to USAID, it didn't really go to Africa. It didn't really go to Ecuador for a drag show. As Marco Rubio said, 90% of it stayed in D.C. All it did was go change hands from one well-connected Democrat to another. And that's why Media Matters is closing down, because this was their source of revenue. And don't be surprised if some of it ended up in the hands of prominent Democrats in the media. Anyway, at 3 a.m. in D.C. the other night, a gang of 10 thugs, young thugs, tried to carjack Big Ball's girlfriend, a woman. He stepped in, he forced her into the car to take off, and then he took on this gang of 10 teenage thugs, and they beat the hell out of him. And he survived, thank God. I mean, it's got to be a scary thing. He's not a big dude, small guy, just a brilliant engineer, kind of a nerd. There he is on the left in his work clothes, I guess. And on the right, after the beating, just bloodied from head to toe. He suffered a concussion. This is from the Daily Caller. They got a hold of the police report. A staff member for Doge, Edward Kornstein, also known as Big Balls, was severely beaten after intervening in an attempted carjacking in D.C., according to public records. Crime in D.C. has been under the media and White House spotlight after Republican intern Eric Tarpinian-Jackum was fatally shot in the city on June 30th. Remember Eric? He was a intern for a Republican congressman. He was a UMass student, shot and killed for no reason, and no Democrat said a word. Trump reached out to him, but he never heard from the governor, never heard from his congressman, never heard from either of our senators. They didn't care because he worked for a Republican. According to the D.C. police report obtained by the Daily Caller, the attack occurred Sunday at 3 a.m. as Kornstein and another individual were standing near their vehicle. Big Balls told officials he saw the suspect approach. Concerned for his friend's safety, he pushed her into the vehicle and turned to confront the suspects. Man, did he live up to his nickname. According to this police report, there were 10 of them. They've already arrested 2 15-year-olds. So we're not going to get the names, probably not the mugshots of these individuals who beat the hell out of Big Balls. And thank God he survived. But crime in D.C. is obviously out of control. The numbers, this was posted by Wokeness, just remarkable how bad crime in D.C. is right now. Let me get the numbers. It's striking how much more violent our nation's capital is than national capitals around the world. In D.C., the homicide rate per 100,000 people, 41 homicides per 100,000 people. Let's look at some of the other places. Nairobi, Kenya, 5. Lagos, Nigeria, 15. Bogota, Colombia, 11. Mexico City, Mexico, 8. We are, 6, 7 times. You're 6 or 7 times more likely to be murdered in D.C. than in Mexico City or Bogota, Colombia. It is really bad. These are young black gangs, young black teenagers out there just out of control, carjacking, mugging in our nation's capital, not far from the White House or the Capitol building. And DC isn't doing its job. They're not locking them up. They're not they're not holding them accountable. So Trump yesterday said he may step in. The federal government may take over the District of Columbia, which seems to me long overdue. When you have one of the worst murder rates in the world for a capital city, something has to change. You can't have this in our nation's capital. Here's Trump yesterday after he found out about Big Balls.
By the way, I have to say that somebody from Doge was very badly hurt last night. You saw that. A young man who was beat up by a bunch of thugs in D.C. And either they're going to straighten their act out in terms of government and in terms of protection, we're going to have to federalize and run it the way it's supposed to be run.
Do it. I mean, think of it. It's perhaps, what is it, our second most popular tourist city after New York? And you can't walk down the street after dark without worrying about getting carjacked or mugged or shot dead like the poor intern from UMass Amherst. It's out of control. And Big Balls, everyone's calling for him to be honored, to get the Medal of Freedom, to have something named after him. This is a real hero. I mean, think of that. Puts his girlfriend in the car, says, get out of here, turns and faces a mob of at least 10. And then they just beat him. Thank God they didn't shoot him or kill him, but it's out of control. But we got so much more to get to. Let's get to the big story of the day. Every day, I wake up, like I said, get online, watch some cable news, say, who's getting arrested today? We didn't have any arrests. We still don't have any arrests. Although last night, Fox News reported that Adam Schiff is under criminal investigation for mortgage fraud, which just gives me a tingle up my leg, to quote Chris Matthews. This is so great because it's in black and white. There's not a lot of gray area. Did you claim that both residences, the one in Burbank, California, and the one in DC, are your primary residence? And he did. He did. That seems to me right there, open and shut. That is mortgage fraud. To get a better rate, to save a lot of money, he lied on a mortgage application. Again, what they accuse you of is what they're doing. And he was right there when they were accusing Trump of financial fraud at Mar-a-Lago, for claiming Mar-a-Lago was worth more than it is. And which he didn't do, obviously, but it seems Adam Schiff did. That would be so wonderful. I don't care what they arrest him for, but just to see this smug, smarmy a-hole who lied to us every day for years face justice would be wonderful. But this would be even better. This is going to be even better. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer issued numerous new subpoenas on Tuesday, including one to the Department of Justice for the complete Jeffrey Epstein files and another for depositions in the coming months with former President Bill Clinton and his wife, Hillary Clinton. They're going to subpoena Bill Clinton, which it won't work. He won't show up. He won't testify. And Hillary Clinton over the Epstein files, just to hear Clinton asked, how many times were you on the island? What did you do on the island? It hasn't happened. I believe it's happened twice in American history. President's been subpoenaed. Neither time did he appear and testify. But this is what has to happen. They have to do. I mean, obviously, this is legal. He's going by the book. He's also, they're also subpoenaing Merrick Garland, James Comey, Eric Holder to talk about the Epstein files and demanding the release of all the Epstein files. And you'll hear Democrats say, oh, Trump's going to do everything he can to distract from this. Well, he hasn't succeeded with James Comer. And in another story, ABC reports that Ghislaine Maxwell, in the 9 hours over 2 days that she spoke to Todd Blanche, the deputy AG, said, quote, nothing harmful about Donald Trump. In 9 hours, she said nothing that will hurt Trump. Bad news for Democrats who are claiming everything Trump does is about distracting your attention away from the Epstein story. Hey, everybody wants the Epstein files. Everyone wants justice for the victims and the perpetrators, the people who, abused children on the island, to be exposed. This is a big step, subpoenaing all these, including Bill Barr. He's on the list. They got dates, they got times when they're expected to appear before the House Oversight Committee. One's a little questionable. Robert Mueller has been called to appear before this committee. He apparently is in a nursing home, in the memory ward of a nursing home. So I don't expect Robert Mueller to appear either. But right, let me get to this. I get so much here. This is wild. ICE, the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, they got a big boost in their budget in the big beautiful bill, and they're out there doing God's work. Kristi Noem announced that they have 80,000 applications for people who want to work for ICE. They're opening up another facility, just like Alligator Alcatraz. They're opening up a facility in Indiana. It's called Speedway something, because it's in Indiana. And big facility, looks like Alligator Alcatraz. And Tom Homan said they're looking to add 100,000 beds for criminal illegal aliens. They're stepping up their efforts. This is just wild. Dean Cain, Superman, has joined ICE. Yes, I'm guessing he doesn't need the money. I'm guessing Superman has plenty of money. He's been doing whatever projects in Hollywood since he played Superman. But he's a patriot, and he's joining ICE, and so are 70 or 80,000 other Americans. They give him a $50,000 cash bonus. This is driving Democrats insane. They want to stop ICE. It's going to be impossible. ICE is coming. They issued the list of all the sanctuary jurisdictions they're coming to. Boston, Massachusetts, top of the list, but all the usual places. They're not, they're going to be done in Texas and in Florida, and they're going to just move all their assets into sanctuary jurisdictions, and they're going to challenge Democrat elected officials to attempt to stop them. And they're not going to be able to. It's not going to happen. We have time. I got to get to this. What's happening in Gaza is, to me, is scary. And I'm not talking about the starvation of children. Oh, there's starvation there in Gaza. It's hostages who are being starved. And the thing that is just mind-blowing to me is almost 3 years ago, right? 3 years ago. Yes, October 7th. A group of savages came into Israel, southern Israel, and just murdered, just slaughtered innocent people at a music festival. They killed women, children. They murdered women, raped their corpses. They took babies hostage. It was the most striking, stunning act of inhumanity we've seen. And you're thinking at the moment, obviously, you know who the bad guys are. And Israel was going to retaliate, and it did. And it is still fighting to bring home the hostages and kill Hamas. I thought it was pretty black and white at the time, and I still do. Everything you see, every starving child, every destroyed house in Gaza is the fault of Hamas. Every atrocity is the fault of Hamas. What they did on October 7th and what they continue to do, hold hostages, torture them, starve them. And our media is slowly all seem to come over to the side of Hamas and turned on Israel. The numbers are unbelievable. The percentage of Democrats who support Israel has fallen to like teens. It's just Democrats and the media, which is obviously, I repeat myself, have decided Israel's the bad guy. Despite what we saw on October 7th, despite what we still see. There it is, the cover of the New York Post, starved of humanity. That is, I want to get his name, Eviatar David, a hostage who is being starved to death now in a tunnel. There he is being forced to dig his own grave. Hamas videotaped it and posted it, sent it out there. And still, every single person in the media, on college campuses, in the Democrat Party, in Congress, are not only siding with Hamas, they're saying Israel's committing genocide. Israel is evil. You hear it all the time. Hell, Candace Owen alone says Israel is demonic. That they're like Nazis killing children. I'll give you another stat, which you don't really hear. This is literally I believe comes straight from the UN. The UN, let me get the number. The UN reported that in June, there were 1,043 trucks of humanitarian aid, food, looted in Gaza. 47 reached their destination without being looted. So Hamas stole 1,043 truckloads of humanitarian aid, and only 47 made it to the starving children. Hamas is starving their own people, killing their own people, and that's Israel's fault. And every time I see these reports, I say, when in war is one side obligated to feed the other side? When is a country that's committing genocide sending truckloads of aid to the other side? It's like the first time in history we demand Israel do things that no other world power would ever do. It wouldn't happen. And at the same time, there's wars going all over the place in the world. I mean, I just Googled this a moment ago. Christians slaughtered in Africa. One story after another. 43 Christians slaughtered in Congo. This was a week ago. 62,000 Nigerian Christians murdered since 2000. 70 Christians murdered in the Democratic Republic of Congo. That was February. Just one after another of Christians being slaughtered. 48 Christians in Africa, and not a word from the media, not a word from Candace Owen or Dave Smith or any of the people who've turned so viciously against Israel. And this isn't going to go away. This is Netanyahu saying they're going to occupy Gaza now. And I don't know I don't know how Candace Owen or Dave Smith or even Tucker Carlson, how they expect Israel to fight this war. Hamas doesn't care about its own people. Hamas uses its own people. They starve their own people. They surround themselves with children. You see pictures of starving children. You don't see a lot of pictures of starving Hamas terrorists. They get plenty of food. Hell, you see fat ones. They are starving their own children, and they're doing it to win the hearts and minds of Western media, Western intellectuals, academics. And the sad thing, the whole point of this rant is it has worked. Prominent people in the media, in academia, in the Democrat Party have been manipulated by a savage terrorist outfit to turn on Israel and use their talking points, genocide, and say they're killing children. No, Hamas doesn't care about the children. They're using them as props, and it's working. The New York Times put on page one an emaciated child. It was a hoax. The kid has a muscular disorder. They put it on page one, and then they apologized and corrected it on a small Twitter account for their PR. Page one of their newspaper and their website, and then apologized on this minor Twitter account that they have. And they didn't put Avitar David on page one, even though it's real. That guy has been held hostage for almost 3 years. Young guy, was a healthy, good-looking guy. Now he looks like he's in Auschwitz. And they forced him to dig his own grave. And the New York Times buried the story. Our media is so corrupt at this point. The people telling you that Israel is committing genocide. I don't think there's ever been a genocide where they sent food into the people they're fighting. That they warned the people they're fighting when they're going to bomb. That's not how genocide works. If it's a genocide, Israel is really bad at genocide. But it's going to get worse because they have all decided Israel is evil and must be stopped. But and Hamas isn't going to ever give up. They're not. They want this. They're winning the PR war. They're doing what they set out to do: terrorize Israel, kill Jews, use their own people, and win the sentiment, the hearts, the minds of Western liberals, and it has worked. Sad, but all right, that will do it for today. Oh, wait, before we go, I got to play this CNN clip. Casey Hunt. Casey Hunt, another Democrat operative at CNN, was interviewed someone about Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, who is threatening to remove all these politicians, these Democrats who ran to Chicago or other places. Do we have this clip where she makes a claim about Abbott? Check this out.
And senior national correspondent Ed Lavandera is inside the Texas State Capitol building. Ed, lawmakers are going to try to establish this quorum again on Friday. I think my question to you is, does the governor have a leg to stand on here?
Well, they're going to try.
I think Ed was a little surprised at that. Does the governor have a leg to stand on? No, he doesn't, Casey. He is paralyzed from the waist down. A tree fell on him once where he was jogging. He's been in a wheelchair for decades. You should know that, Casey. God, that is the guy. The reporter could tell. He was like, "Oh man, what a question." Does the governor have a leg to stand on? You think if I don't know, Sean Hannity said that, Greg Kelly said that, they might have that might go viral. But no, it's CNN. I guess nobody saw it. But, all right, that'll do it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is the Callahan Show, and we'll do it again tomorrow.
Anyone unvaccinated would not be admitted to a hospital. At this point, they've been given plenty of opportunity to get the vaccine. They don't trust our government. They think that there's some conspiracy to turn them into a magnet or something like this. Now, if you don't get it, in my America, all hospitals would be closed to you. You're going to go home and die.